hands-off rallies were a bust. This as Elon Musk slammed the alleged Puppetmasters behind anti-Trump demonstrations. The billionaire Doge head posted on X, "The problem is the Puppetmasters, not the puppets, as the latter have no idea why they are even here." Then accompanied it with video footage of protesters stumbling over what issues they actually have with President Trump. So the first protester explained in the video that he was there after he saw people were hanging out. Meanwhile, the second protester explained that he was there due to executive overreach. Now, the video of protesters racked up more than 12 million views on X just by Sunday afternoon. They also had this ridiculous pamphlet that was showing Trump as a, you guessed it, a fascist. I mean, it was total chaos, guys. An activist at an anti-Trump hands-off rally proudly declared Saturday, "I am an immigrant. I am undocumented, unafraid, queer, and unashamed." And sure enough, of course, critics called for her to be deported. Then, of course, there's declared activist minister William Barber II, who was one of the first speakers at the DC event, who said that he wants to keep them afraid. And by them, of course, he means Trump and Elon Musk. Now, we've got all the clips for you guys later, so definitely stay right there. And hey, guys, I keep getting messages from you guys, comments saying, "Hey, Ron, I keep missing your videos. I keep missing the breaking news. Can you please make sure I get notified?" So I've taken care of you guys. All you got to do is hit the link in the description down below this video or in the pinned comment and join the breaking news newsletter. That's it, totally free. But let me show you what this was really about. Democrats are angling to flip the House and the Senate and take back some power in Washington. I mean, they still don't even have a chance though. Even their failed vice presidential candidate Tim Walz admitted that when his party held power, they failed to pass legislation that could improve voters' lives. Now, we've got the clip of that too, guys. Then, of course, there's former CNN political analyst Chris Silza, who said even if President Donald Trump's tariffs cause significant damage, Democrats still have dismal odds of retaking the Senate in 2026. He explained that the party needs to net 4 seats. Now, of those 22 Republican Senate seats, they need to turn 21 of those in states that Donald Trump won last November. So it's really not a good playing field. And so this is why for Silza, the problem becomes, it's like you have fish in waters that are not super friendly to your party. So what does the Democratic Party do? Well, they try to turn the narrative against President Trump and Elon Musk. And that's what these protests are really about. I mean, just watch this.
Watch out for the Doge! Shit. Watch out for the Doge! Watch out for the Doge! Shit.
There is a lot of accountability coming and a lot of Democratic power brokers don't like it. And I guess there's no shortage of people who would do anything for a few dollars. Now, if you put that together with the deep pockets of their billionaire donor, George Soros, and you've got anti-Trump protesters struggling to explain why they're even there. I mean, just watch this.
So what makes Trump a fascist? What makes Trump a fascist?
He does things without
Yeah, talk loud. I don't have my mic on.
Oh, I'm not really good into interviews.
Sorry?
He just doesn't. He just does everything he wants, and not following laws or he's a convicted felon. That's all I know.
But your sign says he's a fascist, and I'm just curious what makes him a fascist.
Is that he's trying to control the media, right?
Say that again?
He's trying to control the narrative.
How is he trying to control the media? Doesn't every president try to control the narrative?
They try to control their own narrative, but one of the things that Trump has done, for example, is the renaming the Gulf of Mexico, and then not allowing the Associated Press to come into the White House. Basically, trying to get.
What are your feelings about him renaming the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America when a majority of the Gulf is in fact on the coast of America as opposed to Mexico?
I mean, it's kind of pointless. People.
Is it pointless?
Yeah, people call it the Gulf of Mexico. What's the
Don't
point
you think it could have a
name?
positive tourism impact potentially?
Tourism has been down heavily.
So I don't want to get into a tourism debate. My question is, the sign says the fascist Trump regime must go.
Yeah.
And so I'm just curious what makes him a fascist. You pointed out that maybe something about his relationship with the media, he wants to control it, but
yeah.
how again, you're specific. You're calling him a fascist.
Yeah, well,
what makes him a fascist?
One of the core tenets of fascism is creating an enemy, right, and blaming those problems on the enemy.
What's that?
Oh, yeah,
So-
the paper gave me, yeah.
Who gave you that?
The people that gave me the sign. It's a free sign.
Oh, someone gave you the sign,
Yeah.
and then they gave you the handout.
Yeah.
So are you reading it now to try to answer the question?
Yeah, but I mean...
Can I see that? Can you hold that
I'm
up?
just not...
No, I'm just curious.
Maybe you can have it.
I can have it?
Yeah, you can have it.
Alrighty. So where did you get the sign?
All the way in the gatekeeper's house.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just pretty cool.
And that's another one? They gave you 2 pieces of paper?
Yeah.
Can I have that one too?
Yes, you can have both.
Oh, okay. So what brings you guys out here today?
Just because I saw people were hanging out with people from...
Yeah, same thing as everyone else, executive overreach.
And so just like Elon Musk explained, the real problem, is the puppet masters, not the puppets. You saw how clueless those protesters were. The first couldn't even answer why Trump is a fascist, even though he was holding a sign that reads, "The fascist Trump regime must go." The other one said he's trying to control the media, but he couldn't come up with a single comeback when the interviewer pointed out the fact that every president tries to control that narrative. Then it came out that the first protester was there after he saw people were just hanging out. Then he pulled out this printed one-sheeter that declared, "We're facing fascism. The time to act is now," right alongside a photoshopped image of President Trump with a Hitler-style mustache. So this begs the question. More than 1,200 protests were held across the nation on Saturday as critics gathered to protect the administration, the Department of Government Efficiency, reciprocal tariffs, federal layoffs, and immigration reform. But really, how many of them who were there actually knew what they were doing? And as Elon Musk pointed out on X, who's funding and organizing all of these paid protests? Critics are even calling the anti-Tesla protest astroturfing, which means that they're a campaign falsely made to appear grassroots. Hey, by the way, guys, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below. Just listen to one of their speakers declare that she's undocumented and ashamed. Here, watch.
My name is Gracia Martinez Rosas. I am an immigrant. I am undocumented, unafraid, queer, and unashamed. I lead the organization, the most beautiful organization called United We Dream Action. We are the nation's largest network of immigrant young people fighting for queer rights, immigrant rights, and the rights of everyday working class people. So y'all look so beautiful. I wish you could be in this place, and there's so many of you. I want you to take a moment and say high five to your neighbor. Y'all have been here for a while. Say, hey, what's up, neighbor? We're doing this. We got this. Yes. I'm here today because this fight is about all of us. Not just the people standing here in this podium, but this fight is about you. About the people that you love, about the people that you miss, those we lost, and those that we are waiting for, our babies.
Like my uncle said, guys, ashamed of nothing, offended by everything. It's kind of like she proudly proclaimed that she doesn't respect the Constitution of the country that she's leeching off of. You know what I mean, guys? Remember the name, Gracia Martinez Rosas, who's been a national immigration activist for years and heads pro-immigration group United We Dream. After this speech, people are already calling for her arrest and for her deportation, with posts saying deport her and or lock her up. An ex-user pointed out the only thing that she didn't tell ICE is her home address. So they're pretty confident that they can look that up. Now, another one predicted that we will see her arrested later this week. We'll definitely look forward to that. Then, of course, there's this activist, Minister William Barber II, who said he wants to keep them afraid. Here, check this out.
They are afraid of you. Trump and Musk, who want to be dictators and want to be kings and lords, they are afraid of the power of love and truth and justice. They are afraid of your unity and your diversity. Well, let's keep them afraid until they change. My friends, this is way bigger than just a party issue. This is an outright battle for civilization. And the truth is, they are all scared of your power to come together. And they are betting that we will be afraid of them. But this is the time that we must increase, intensify, and embolden our agitation for what is right. We must declare that the only way a wannabe king can be king is if we bow, but bowing down is not an option. Our knees aren't made for bowing. We are not going to bow to power-drunk, neo-fascist extremists. We only bow to God.
I guess it is true that there are false preachers like the Bible says, huh? I mean, do you believe what this guy is actually saying? That President Trump and Elon Musk are afraid of unity and diversity? President Trump won both the Electoral College and the popular vote. So, I mean, you can't get much more united than that. Now, as far as diversity, he is the first Republican president who's made this level of progress with black voters and Latino voters. I mean, how much more diverse can you get than this? Then again, you know, of course, we realize that these protests are really about what we learn that a coalition of Democratic and left-wing groups organized the event, which is one of the first large DC rallies against Trump since he re-entered the White House in January. Now, simultaneously, protests unfolded at over 1,000 locations across the country, including the Big Apple, New York City, at Columbia University, and Bryant Park. Now, these opponents of Trump and Elon Musk have also vandalized Tesla facilities and vehicles across the country. Now, one prominent voice in the hands-off rallies was Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin. He's the guy that served as chief prosecutor in President Trump's second impeachment trial in 2021. Now, he told protesters no moral person wants an economy-crashing dictator who knows the price of everything and the value of nothing. But man, Raskin was all over the place. He said, hands off Greenland, hands off Canada, hands off Panama, and then statehood for Washington, D.C. As if people wouldn't notice the self-serving agenda that he inserted into his speech, right? Like Elon Musk said, don't look at the puppets. Instead, look at the puppet masters. Now, let me know if you guys are seeing the same thing here. Drop a quick yes in the comments down below, hit the like button, and while you guys are at it, make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on all notifications so you don't miss out on this hard-hitting content. All right, so let's get back to it. Now, really, what these protests just proved is that Democrats are really working overtime to claw back any sort of power in Washington, D.C. Because as Tim Walz explained, they failed to deliver for voters when it counted. Here, watch.
Districts across the country, you're saying Democrats need to do a better job of reaching Trump voters. I want to play something you said at an event in Texas last month.
We let them define the issue on immigration. We let them define the issue on DEI, and we let them define what woke is. We got ourselves in this mess because we weren't bold enough to stand up and say, you damn right we're proud of these policies. We're going to put them in, and we're going to execute them.
I mean, the issues you identified there were immigration, DEI, and woke. You think Democrats' problem was that you just didn't do a good enough job explaining the policies and not that voters simply didn't just reject what you were selling, particularly on immigration, I wonder?
No, on immigration, what we were asking for is a bipartisan policy that strengthens immigration control, that recognizes that we need a workforce here, that they should be allowed here legally, and that when they get here, they're part of the American fabric. And that is the bipartisan bill we had. Donald Trump snatching up college grad students and sending them back or sending folks to El Salvador illegally, that's not the policy. But for us to say, we don't care that violent criminals come in, we most certainly do. What we were asking for is the resources to make sure they don't get here. And the same thing with the other policies. It's not a woke policy to provide food for children to get breakfast and lunch, and we get better outcomes from that. They defined things on their terms that weren't true. And what I'm saying is, are we going to turn away from being a country of legal immigration? Are we going to turn away from a country that thinks diversity and making sure that we don't have gaps in income between blacks and whites? Those are policies that have strengthened America. And I think what we allowed ourselves to do is we got timid. And then when we got power, we didn't pass things that improved people's lives. This whole idea, I think the Democratic Party gets theoretical, talk about food insecurity. People are hungry, get them food. People don't have a house. Make sure they have a living wage. That's the point that I'm saying is, Fox News will glorify, oh, he's for DEI. Not your definition of DEI. My definition is rule of law that's fair, that everybody gets an opportunity. And that's the point I think we have to make. Now, look, I'll be first to tell you, Jake, I'm out here doing what I can do. I don't know if I'm the best spokesperson to do it after just losing an election. But what I know is the public, and you saw it across the country this weekend, they're rising up and asking their leadership to do something.
So there you go, guys. The failed vice presidential candidate admitted that when his party held power, they failed to pass legislation that could improve voters' lives. He even doubled down on their policies, saying that they've strengthened America, and yet he admits that they allowed themselves to get timid. Waltz doesn't seem to be too timid after his failed campaign with Kamala Harris, though. In fact, the former governor of Minnesota reemerged in the media spotlight, launching this town hall tour in March across red district throughout the country. He's really trying to boost the party ahead of the midterm elections. But Democrats have reached an all-time low favorability rating among voters. In a poll released March 16th, CNN SSRS found the Democratic Party's favorability has dropped to just 29% among voters. This is a 20-point decline since January 2021. The poll also found that 52% of Democratic-aligned adults believe the party's current leadership is taking it in the wrong direction, while over 30% of respondents couldn't name a single Democrat that they felt best reflects the core values of the party. I mean, this is why former CNN political analyst Chris Kaliza, he says that even if President Trump's tariffs massively backfire, Democrats still have dismal odds of retaking the Senate in 2026. Here's a breakdown.
If the tariffs backfire as badly as some economists are saying they could, does this offer any path for the Dems to win not just the House, but also the Senate in 2026? Good question. Let me give you the problem first for Democrats vis-a-vis the Senate. So they need to net 4 seats, okay? Because J.D. Vance is the vice president of the Senate, breaks ties. So you got to have a clear majority if you're Democrats. You got to have 51 seats. There are 22 Republican seats up to 13 Democratic seats. Of those 22, 21 of them are in states that Donald Trump won last November. So it's not a great playing field. The only one that's in a state Kamala Harris won is in Maine, Susan Collins, and she's going to be a huge target. So the problem becomes, it's like you have to fish in waters that are not super friendly to your party. So like one example, North Carolina, Tom Tillis is running. I could see that being a real race because I think Roy Cooper, the popular former Democratic governor, is probably going to run. So I think that's a race. It is a state Trump won, but that's a real race. It starts to get dicier after that. Remember, they need 4. So let's assume they don't lose any of their own, which, look, Georgia is going to be a big race for Democrats. So is Michigan. Minnesota, New Hampshire, maybe. But Georgia and Michigan are going to be huge, huge races that they'd have to hold. But let's say they hold those 2. So even if they win, even if they beat Susan Collins and Tom Tillis, then I guess the next one would be in Ohio, where John Husted is the appointed senator. Ohio's a tough state, maybe. Okay, that's 3. Now you have to find me another winner out of this group. I'm going to go in alphabetical order. Alaska, Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Iowa, Idaho, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Montana, Nebraska, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, West Virginia, and Wyoming. I mean, Iowa's probably the best bet there. Maybe Florida. It's just the map is not great for them. It just isn't for Democrats. And so it's like, could I think of a path? Sure. But man, you got to go through some pretty red states to get there.
Okay, he talks kind of fast, so here's my breakdown of his breakdown. Democrats need to pick up 4 seats because since J.D. Vance is VP, he is the tie-breaking vote in the Senate. So this means that Democrats need a clear majority, 51 seats. The problem is that among the 22 Republican seats in 2026, 21 are in states that Trump won last November. Now, that's a brutal map. In fact, the only one in a state that Biden-Harris actually carried is Maine, Susan Collins' seat. And yeah, she's going to be a big target. Saliza basically said that Democrats are going to have to fish in some very red waters. He did mention North Carolina could be interesting. Thom Tillis is up for re-election, and if Roy Cooper jumps in, that could be a real race, even though it's still a Trump state. But after that, things get a little dicey, very dicey. Like, even if Democrats win in Maine and North Carolina, they still need 2 more, and where are they coming from? Saliza rattled off a bunch of deep red states: Alabama, Arkansas, Kentucky, Texas, Wyoming. You get the idea. Maybe Iowa, maybe Florida, but overall, I mean, he said it straight up, the map is not great. And remember, guys, this is all assuming that Democrats don't lose any of their own seats, which is a big ask. Georgia, Michigan, Minnesota, New Hampshire, those are all going to be battlegrounds too. Now, he also said something earlier this year about how the recent retirements of Democratic senators in New Hampshire, Michigan, and Minnesota have already made things way harder for Democrats to claw back in the Senate. So yeah, even with a potential economic mess from the tariffs, Saliza isn't optimistic about the Democrats' chances. He's basically saying, hey, look, it's not impossible, but it is definitely an uphill climb through deep red territory. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. Are these protests just part of the Democratic plan for the midterm elections? Drop me a quick comment down below, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. Also, don't miss the recommended videos that are about to pop up next, right after this one. We go deeper into what the mainstream media will not show you. Anyway, appreciate you guys hitting the like button. Thank you so much for subscribing. We'll see you next time.